Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on Vedic astrology today. And today we'll be talking about Vargottama planet effects. So, what is Vargottama? I've already made a video on that earlier, and I'm not going to go into detail on what Vargottama is, but I'll give you a quick recap. And then we'll go on to discuss the main topic, which is Vargottama planet effects. So, what Vargottama is, it's actually made out of two Sanskrit words, Varga and Uttama. So what is Varga? Vargas are actually divisional charts given to us by the ancient sages, and commonly we use about 16 of them, and generically we call them, we term them as D2, D3, D9, D10, so on and so forth. Of course, they have different Sanskrit names, which are Navamsa, Dasamsa, so on and so forth. But we'll just refer to them as, we just refer to them for the sake of convenience as D2, D3, because they're actually, D2 is a division when a Rashi or the zodiac sign is divided into two parts and then create a Varga chart based on the principles given to us by the ancient sages. D9 is a Rashi or the zodiac sign divided into 9 equal parts, and then we create a D9 chart based on the principles given to us by the ancient sages. And these Varga charts do cover different areas of our lives. Like, for example, D9 covers our marriage, D10 covers our profession, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go into detail into that. So that's what Vargas are. And Vargottama, like I said, it's made out of two Sanskrit words, Varga and Uttama. So, meaning which a planet gets Uttama. Uttama means excels, and Varga is Varga charts, 16 of them. So the rules of Vargottama concept is, or when a planet gets Vargottama is, then if a planet is placed in a particular zodiac sign in the main Rashi chart, and it's also placed in the same zodiac sign in any of those 16 Varga charts, then it becomes Vargottama, meaning which it becomes very strong and it has the ability to excel or do good. Similarly, if a planet is placed in a house, now here we're not talking about zodiac sign, we're talking about houses. So if a planet is placed in a house in the main Rashi chart and it's placed in the same house in the Varga charts, any of those 16 Varga charts, then also it becomes Vargottama, meaning which it gets the ability or capability to excel and do good. And the third is that in case the Lagna or the ascendant of the main Rashi chart also happens to be the same Lagna of any of the Varga charts, then also the Lord of that Lagna excels, so become Vargottama. That's one. And also the ascendant itself with its qualities excels, and it has the capability to do good. So these are the three main conditions for Vargottama. But the most powerful one is where a planet is placed in a particular zodiac sign, and it's also placed in the same zodiac sign in any of those 16 Varga charts. Normally we use 16 Varga charts, and the ancient sages have given us much more, but generally 16 are the main Varga charts given to us by the ancient sages. Now, also, in recent times, we do not take into consideration all the Varga charts. We just take into consideration the D9 or the Navamsha chart. So what we do is we just look at the main Rashi chart and we compare it to the Navamsha chart. We do not generally go into the other Varga charts, although we should. But you'll see astrologers just compare it with the Navamsha chart. So they do not take into consideration the other Varga charts. That's another thing I wanted to bring to your attention. So that is the concept of Vargottama we just talked about, and which means that a planet excels once it becomes a Vargottama, and also the ascendant excels as well with its qualities when it becomes Vargottama. So today what we'll be talking about is not what the Vargottama concept is. We are going to be talking about what are the effects of the planets when it becomes Vargottama, and we're going to be discussing all the 9 planets. So in case the planet Sun, let's start with the planet Sun, becomes Vargottama, what are the effects? Well, it becomes very strong with its qualities. And what is the main quality of the planet Sun? Well, Sun is about, first of all, it's about Atmabal, which is willpower. Atmabal is a Sanskrit word for willpower. So people whose Sun is Vargottama, you will generally see them as people with a very, very high willpower, and also all the other qualities of Sun, like leadership, like generosity, like all the Kshatriya qualities, they come with it. Okay, as far as the planet Moon is concerned, when the planet Moon becomes Vargottama, then the person you will see will have good qualities of the Moon. And what are the good qualities of the Moon? It's a very sattvic planet, like the Sun. Sun is also sattvic, but it's hot. But here Moon is a little cooler, compassionate, kind, generous, happy planet with all its sattvic good effects, and the effects which you'll see in Moon dominated people, like being happy and making other people around them happy as well. So they have the quality of the Moon, which comes when the planet becomes Vargottama. Or I would say, instead of the word quality, I'm going to use the word, they have the power of the planet Moon with them. Now here, in case the planets become Vargottama, they have the power of those planets which come to that person. But do you think that those planets become benefic for them? No. Why? Because you have to take into consideration other factors as well. Where is the Moon placed? Is it a lord of a Dusthana? Is it placed in a Dusthana? Is it aspected by other planets? Is it conjunct with other planets? Is it a functional benefic for that person whose chart you're reading or not? That is most critical. So be very careful. Do not jump to a conclusion that if you see a Vargottama planet in anybody's chart, you definitely know that that person has the capability, because the strength of that planet comes to that person. But whether that planet is benefic for that person is not, that has to be taken into consideration. So for example, a person may have a Vargottama planet, but it may not be benefic for him. But since the planet is Vargottama, that planet will have the strength of that planet in terms of, like we just discussed with Sun, leadership and willpower and all the Kshatriya effects. Similarly with Moon, compassion, happiness, making people around them happy. They will have the power to be happy if we take into consideration Moon. They will have the power to be good leaders if we take that into consideration. But please do not jump to a conclusion that that planet has become a benefic for that person in case that planet is a functional malefic for that person. All right, so that's a typical mistake most astrologers make. They look into a birth chart, they see, okay, well, say for example, Moon is not a benefic for that person. Okay, Moon is not a benefic planet, or Moon is not a functional benefic for that person, but Moon is Vargottama, so they'll say, well, Moon is a benefic, it'll give you good results in its dashas and its periods and transits. No, it has to be looked at it in totality. Okay, so we're just talking about in general about what the planet is strong in, what qualities that person can have. Okay, so moon can give him that quality to be happy and to be compassionate, but moon may not give him good results in the operating periods, the dashas, in case moon is a functional malefic for that person. So let's move to Mars here. So the quality of Mars is its ability to fight, in terms of it's a fighter. Mars is a fighter, it's a general. If we take into consideration the 9 planets, it's a Kshatriya planet. It's very aggressive, very ambitious, and it has the ability to fight in tough times. So that person will have the quality, the strength of Mars to be able to come out of difficult situations by the power of its aggressiveness and its being goal oriented. But you have to check whether Mars is actually a functional benefic or a functional malefic. Now, in case Mars is a functional benefic along with being Vargottama, then it's excellent. But in case Mars is a functional malefic for that planet and it's Vargottama, do not expect good results from Mars in its operating periods, dashas, sub-periods, antardashas, or pratyantar, sub periods. Okay, so that's something which I want to make very clear. But try to understand what that planet stands for and what kind of strength that planet is giving you. Going to Mercury, if Mercury is Vargottama, it can give you excellent results in terms of your intelligence, in terms of good communication skills. Okay, similarly, if you go to Jupiter, it's about higher intelligence. It can give you excellent results in acquiring higher intelligence, because Jupiter is about, and actually I shouldn't be using the word intelligence for Jupiter, it's more knowledge. Higher knowledge is concerned, ability to find a guru is concerned, ability to absorb higher knowledge. That's what Jupiter is going to give you. Perfect sattvic qualities it can give you, but then again, it may not give you good results in case Jupiter is a functional malefic in your birth chart. Okay, what does Venus do? Venus has the ability and the strength to acquire luxurious surroundings, and also to be able to enjoy the luxuries of life. That is the strength of Venus. It also gives you a strength in terms of giving you body strength. Why? Because Venus is about strength as well. It's a Vajra. It's very strong. Ojas is a concept which you may have read about, and I don't have the time to discuss and describe Ojas in detail, but that's the life force in a nutshell, in a short way, if I were to explain it. Ojas is directly connected with Venus. So people whose Venus is Vargottama have the strength to obtain that ojas, that charisma, that life force, that strength. However, you have to see whether Venus is a benefic for him in the birth chart or not. And if it's not benefic, then of course he'll acquire the strength of the ojas, but Venus may not give results or good results in its operating periods. Okay, what about Saturn? Saturn is a karaka, or the significator of sorrow. We all know that as per the ancient scriptures. So what is the strength a person acquires if his Saturn is Vargottama? Okay, Saturn has the strength to be ability to absorb sorrow. So people with a Vargottama Saturn have the ability to absorb sorrow. We all have sorrow in our lives, but to be able to absorb sorrow, that is a very powerful thing. Very, 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 very typical to an individual. You know, all people cannot, or all people do not have the ability to absorb sorrow. Now then again, look at the main birth chart, see if a sun is a or Saturn is a benefic for that person or not. And in case Saturn is a benefic and it's Vargottama as well, then you see, well, Saturn is going to give you excellent results first in its operating periods, and also it will give the capability or the strength to be able to absorb sorrow. And if Saturn is not a benefic for that person, then you'll see, okay, he may not have good effects related to Saturn mainly in its operating periods, but he does have the ability to absorb that sorrow which Saturn will give him in its operating periods if Saturn is not a functional benefic for that person. He will have that strength regardless of whether Saturn is good for him or not. Okay? And then of course we take into consideration Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is what? If in case Rahu is a Vargottama planet in somebody's birth chart, and what does Rahu's strength stand for? Rahu is about the mind. Okay, so Rahu will give that strength to be able to look ahead and plan and manipulate. He's a great politician because of the power of his mind. Okay, so he'll have that power. And of course Rahu also has the capability to cross boundaries if it has to reach its objective. That power is going to be there. That manipulative power, that power of intricate thinking and planning and strategizing, he will have that. But then Rahu may be a benefic for him or may not be a benefic for him. So regardless of whether it's a benefic or not benefic, if Rahu is a benefic, it'll give him excellent results in its operating periods. And if it's not a benefic for him, then it's gonna hammer him down completely. But still, regardless of being hammered down by Rahu in its operating periods, he will have that power of intricate planning, the power of the mind, strategizing, manipulating, and crossing boundaries if required to fulfill the objectives. So Vargottama concept comes here very, very strong. And then finally Ketu. Ketu is the headless planet. It's about intuition. So people with a Vargottama Ketu are very, very intuitive people. And generally their judgments are good. But again, you know, I keep repeating myself. Look at how Ketu is placed in his birth chart, whether it's a benefic for him or not. That has to be taken into consideration. Very important. So don't jump to a conclusion that if a planet is Vargottama, it's going to give good results in its periods, but it will give these kinds of strengths to that person if a planet is a Vargottama. Now, we already discussed that generally astrologers, modern day astrologers, take into consideration Vargottama concept when it comes into comparison between the main Rashi chart and just the D9 or the Namamsha chart. But go beyond that. My recommendation is go beyond that. See if a planet is Vargottama in D10 chart, just to give you an example. Not that the other Varga charts should not be taken into consideration. So say for example you take into consideration Vargottama planet which is Vargottama with D10, meaning which it's occupying the same zodiac sign in the main Rashi chart and the D10 or the Dasamsa chart, then that person will acquire that strength of that planet related to the profession. In case you were to compare the Vargottama planet, which is Vargottama, with the D9 chart, then you will be able to see that that person acquires the strength of that planet with the D9 chart, or dealing with his marriage, or dealing with his spouse. That strength of that planet will come. Okay, similarly, you know, with D7 chart, if it's Vargottama, then that planet will give him the strength to deal with any issues related to the children. Okay, so if its sun is Vargottama, then obviously, you know, he'll have he'll have more leadership qualities, meaning which he'll be able to guide his children well with D7. In case say for example Mercury is Vargottama with D7, then he'll have the power of Mercury dealing with his children in terms of teaching his children, communicating with his children very well. Okay, now the third thing which comes into play is what zodiac sign is the planet Vargottama is in. A planet can be Vargottama in Aries zodiac sign, or Cancer zodiac sign, or any of the 12 zodiac signs. And then that effect is also to be taken into consideration. What zodiac sign is the planet Vargottama in? So say for example planet Vargottama in the zodiac sign of Taurus will have a different kind of strength as compared to a planet Vargottama in the zodiac sign of, say for example, Scorpio. Why? Because those zodiac signs of Taurus and Scorpio stand for different qualities. So that intricate analysis also has to be taken into consideration, but that's at a higher level. So why I made this video is because, generally astrologers, normally modern day astrologers, look at a chart. Okay, well, this planet is sitting in this zodiac sign, a particular zodiac sign in the main Rashi chart, and it's also sitting in a particular or the same zodiac sign in the Navamsha or the D9 chart. So this planet turns a benefic for you. No. It does not. It does acquire the strength of that planet, which we just discussed, and in specific areas to those Varga charts. So for example, if it's D9 chart, it has to be confined to his marriage and partnerships only. If it's D10 chart, then it has to be confined to profession only. And then the higher analysis comes when you analyze based on what zodiac sign that planet is placed in. And then of course taking into consideration whether that planet is a benefic or a malefic in the main Rashi chart. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. In the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel, check out my website, there is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.